Hi, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm going to review the new Canis Terminus and give you two full real-world builds. It'll be quite a long video, so please do make use of the chapter marks provided. Now, I'm sure you're aware that Terminus is based on the latest Jeep Wrangler, and our first build is a Rubicon X 4xe, which is the smaller engine hybrid model. But there is a reason for going for this rather than rushing straight into a Rubicon 392, the $90,000 top of the range. Quite simply, that reason is the wheels. The wheels on this particular model are so close to the reality, and they look so very good on this car. And of course we have the matching spare wheel as well. To counteract the lovely wheels, we have the fact that the side windows are missing on this car when you put the roof up. So I've decided to work on the removed roof version of this car, because from my studies you can remove it on just about everything. You can also remove the doors if you require. So to my mind, a roof off Rubicon X is the closest we're going to be able to build to a real standard non-modified car. So let's get ourselves into the workshop now and we'll build this one. If you want to see the photos in more detail, I've linked below the article I took them from. We start with the arch covers. Now the painted ones have some small black inserts, which is perfect. It's just like the real thing. So we're going painted arches, but as you can see there's also slim arches available and even some very heavy duty ones. I've maxed out with race brakes. Now on the front bumper I have gone with the stock bumper. It is missing the little integrated winch and hook that you get on the Rubicon X, but everything else is further away. I should note that this bumper here I have seen on some other photos, though it's the spitting image of one that I've seen, but I can't work out why the Rubicon could occasionally have that bumper. At the back I don't like the stock because it has the central number plate, so I've gone heavy duty to put the number plate on the right hand side. It would be better on the left, but hey. Stock doors, because whilst removed doors is quite a cool and real world look, every removed doors here has another optional safety door which does not exist in reality. I maxed out the engine. This exhaust, this little hidden exhaust, is actually bang on, whereas all the other ones are not. So stock exhaust. I've gone stock grille. It actually comes from something else, a different sort of off-roader, but apart from stock, every single one has these weird canted headlights, so even if you can get some vertical bars like that, they are basically ruined. So I'm afraid it's just stock grille. This vented hood with carbon is pretty close to the Rubicon X by having some side grills. The black one like that is quite good for a 392, although I've seen 392s with and without the black piece. So vented hood with carbon here at least works pretty well. We shouldn't have the front inlet, but we can't have everything. Moving on, the lights, just to look at briefly, they look fine as stock. I don't really think you need xenon. You could put car meat on. I just don't feel this is a car that even needs the car meat lights. For the liveries, let's just have a look at them all, although we're not using one. That's obviously military. This I think is a really good looking livery. I can really imagine you wanting to put this on your car. And the same with this Whiz off-roading one. I think this is a really nice one. But the rest are all a bit over colourful. There's certainly nothing I would want. On down then to the respray. I'm not sure if this is a metallic colour or not. It doesn't look metallic to me in most photos, so I've gone for standard dew yellow, which is actually very close. Those are sunset photos you see there. I think dew yellow is very good. You don't need a crew colour, but you could try things like red, because it comes in red. Stone silver there will give you the grey the car comes in. There's an awful lot of standard colours for the car, about 8 or 10 I think, so you really can find almost whatever you want here. The olive green, there is a green one that's similar to that. There's also a blue, but it sits somewhere between Saxon blue and normal blue. So I say don't feel you have to go the dew yellow I've gone, just go whatever colour you like from the standard palette. Secondary here is doing a number of details plus the steps. You can see all those details changing now. Classic black is all we need for those. I have a disappointment with the interior colour. What I want is to leave the dash and everything alone and change the colour of the seats potentially. That's how they seem to be for real, but unfortunately when I go trim colour, it's all of the plastics and things that change, and the seats stay the same, so I'm just leaving it as black or graphite. This is the correct roof stock for some of them. We've gone for the roof delete, which works for a lot of these vehicles, and there's also a painted roof. Now, I will say here that perhaps the painted roof is the more accurate for the Rubicon X, because it has a fully removable sunroof, and I'm not 1000% sure whether this roof can be removed or not. So do your due diligence on the roof. I say I like the removed one because I don't have to worry about the back windows. The slat skirts here look quite like the optional rock slider steps, as they are called, and most of the other ones protrude too much, so I've done the slat steps. The stock spare is just perfect, matching with the other wheels, as I already mentioned in the intro, so I just go stock spare wheel, but note that you can cover or remove the spare wheel. It's all up to you. I've done the transmission but not the turbo because I don't want the noises. The wheels, as mentioned, are stock. Of course you can pick other wheels from the off-road category, and in fact one of these we will be picking for our second build, but these stock ones are great. I think it's one of the best excuses there is to build this specific car. Bulletproof tyres, of course, and the windows look very lightly tinted to me on the photo, so I've gone for a light smoke. Windshield accessories we're not using, but the fact they've added here the small, the big snorkel and a light bar is great. Obviously the arm's a bit silly, but there we go. And it does remind me this is an Imani Tech vehicle if you like that sort of thing. I don't use it, so I don't comment much upon it. But there's our build. Let's look at something else. So as you can see, this is Rebel Off-Road's custom version of the Wrangler. I thought it looked really good, and we've got a lot of the parts. I will say right away that I have got pieces of secondary colour where the Rebel Off-Road version does not, and vice versa. Obviously there are limitations in the game. I can't start colouring suspension, etc., so I have used a little bit of imagination in order to match the colour scheme of this custom car. Anyway, let's get it built and then we can review it. Having shown you most of the options on the car last time, I'm going to aim to go through this one a little bit quicker. So the arch covers, I want the slim arches, that's the unpainted arches on this car. They are very close to what's been used, and perhaps this car was an inspiration for Rockstar to provide the slim ones. On the front bumpers, none of them quite work, which is slightly annoying. I want a very cropped bumper. I don't want the lights in the bumper. But when I go through them all, none of them are as close as the cropped bumper with the light bar, so that's the one I've gone for in the end. I went with the utility bumper at the back. I hardly need a back bumper at all, and this is the smallest one, and it's got some little hooks on it as well, which are nice. Doors again are stock for the same reason. Onto the stock exhaust. Onto the grille, I want it painted, but there's no way I can really do it. I've just left it stock, and again left a few little pieces of the lime green to stick out, as previously discussed. I'd like a smooth stock hood. Well, stock with the slight grille is all I can have, so stock hood, no livery. For respray, I've just gone for a classic stone silver to match the grey of the other car. Seems to be pretty close. Secondary, as you can guess, is a classic lime green. As previously mentioned, it's not colouring quite the right bits in most cases, but at least we have the look of little scattered bits of lime green all over a grey car. Trim colour I've left again as black or graphite. Gone for the painted roof, and in this case that is bang on. We'll just have to deal with the missing side windows. Slat skirts, they do come up lime green. I want that bit of lime green. If you don't like it, just put the stock skirt on, which is a bit small, but it doesn't pick up, from what I remember, the secondary colour at all. Spare wheel. Now I've gone for the stock spare wheel. I mean, it is parked back in on the garage, but you might want to go with the wheel delete like that. Then you just can't have the wrong wheel. You can say they've used their spare, or you could even perhaps put a cover on, but I don't know if a cover matches the ethos of this car. So really up to you how you choose to deal with this thorny issue of the back wheel. Onto wheels. Now I've gone into off-road, of course, and I've picked the Drag SPL. They are pretty much the spitting image of the style of wheel on the car. However, of course, on the real car, only the rim is in green, the centre is in a graphite or a black colour. Well, we can't do that, so just gone with the whole thing like that. I've limoed out the windows because they look really dark on the photos. I've put, again, nothing here for the windshield accessories, but you might even consider a snorkel or the light bar just to reference the small extra spotlights on the Rebel off-road car. That completes the build, and there is a link below where you can read all about this real 500 horsepower monster. But what's the in-game car like to drive? Well, slight spoilers, I was really pleasantly surprised. I avoided watching other people's reviews on the car, partly because I was busy, and partly because I hate to be influenced. So I didn't expect the car to feel as quick as it does in a straight line. I mean, I'm not saying it's a supercar, but it really does feel decently quick, and certainly quick enough for most driving around the city. So I thought, well, okay, that's a little bit of a surprise. Does it still off-road okay? And it does. Now, I don't test these cars in the same way that some people do. I know that a friend of the channel, The Way, has done the full off-road test on the car, and I suppose Bruff has probably done the full on-road test. But it certainly deals with the off-road very well indeed. I love the bump absorption on the car, the way it will deal with both off-road or even just going over the curbs and stuff in the city. Wonderfully judged bump absorption. So then, what about the handling? I thought perhaps it's going to be all sloppy and slidey, but it's not. The car is really direct. If you're really neutral on the power, the car will eventually tend towards a lot of tyre squealing understeer. But if you just brake a little bit extra into the corner, even just shift a little weight with the accelerator, you'll get these little slight oversteer, slight four-wheel drifts really easily and at quite a high speed. Really, really good. Well, I'm thinking then it must have gone wrong somewhere. Perhaps it's the brakes. But no. The brakes are really good on the car. I could have stopped before this fence. I only went through it for a slow-mo. I can't find anything really against the way this vehicle drives. And as previously mentioned, apart from perhaps the back windows and a few tiny details which you expect in a game where copyright infringement is always a danger for Rockstar, very little to say against the looks. I do wish we had the vertical bars in the grille. That's obviously something you always see in your garage, and even as a Brit I know jolly well that that's a Jeep signature, because we can buy Jeeps over here as well. Now it is about $2 million by the time you've upgraded it, so it's not a cheap vehicle, and I'm going to suspect that the Draugr is perhaps still the off-road king, although this to me feels rather similar. Though if money is tight and you're not a massive Jeep fan, then okay, maybe this isn't for you, but I think for anybody who wants to collect off-roaders, who wants to collect Jeeps, who wants, again, another real-world looking type car, for the car collector, this definitely is one for you. I've had other requests for builds on this car. It's exceedingly popular, it seems, and I will endeavour to get those builds out in the next couple of weeks for you. In the meantime, if you got anything out of this video at all, please do smash that like button. It would be really appreciated. Comment if you have anything at all to say. I will reply, and as always, thank you so much for watching.